Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're doing very, very well. Now, today, to go alongside this rather fetching little quirky combat vest I'm wearing the weathered Fraser tartan. Now that, made famous by the TV show Outlander. Time travel in romance and God, load of shite if you ask me. Anyway, folks, I hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, yesterday morning, I was awoken with a couple of messages off my friend Gareth Stevens, and we were talking about zombies, as we often do, because Gareth Stevens is a celebrated author of the Zompocalypse trilogy. In the end, then before the end, and then after the end. Where would he go to next? Even further after the end, or do we start at the beginning and then end it all over again? No, it's great stuff, and there's nothing better than waking up and discussing zombies. Who's your favourite zombie? What are your favourite zombie movies? Blah 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 blah, all of that sort of stuff. And he knows his stuff on zombies, and you'd all know that I do. But it massively put me on a big sort of zombie theme, and that's all down to you, Gareth. You know, I can be swayed from one path very easily. I had a load of videos all lined up, and I've been talking about them for a while. Bloodthirsty trilogies from Japan about vampires, opening a box from Astrodyne full of merchandise and cult curios from all the decades, fantastic mystery gifts, and other stuff all lined up. And then you come on, and that's it, I'm derailed. It's now zombies. Actually, go on Amazon and get his trilogy. Great stuff. It's a zombie apocalypse set in Cornwall. But if you're going to have the end of the world, you may as well play it out in the scenic beauty of Cornwall. Rugged cliffs, coasts, little coves, meadows. It's gorgeous. Unlike, say, a farmhouse outside Pittsburgh or a shopping mall in rural Pennsylvania. Mind you, George Romero did do something good. He went to Florida for Day of the Dead. Oh, but what did he do? Yeah, it was all down in a big, dingy, dreary nuclear bunker. So yeah, at least Gareth's got a good idea there. And it's good. The first book introduces characters as the end takes place. The second book goes before the end and kind of cites what starts it all with another bunch of characters who will then get to meet in the final book. Fast-paced, gore aplenty, and a dog called Shadow. Awesome stuff. Great, so recommend them. But yeah, he put me on this path for zombies, and I've got the greatest zombie movie ever, beyond any shadow of a doubt, is Dawn of the Dead. I've talked about it a lot, really, really in depth, many, many times. But, you know, I'm going to explore a different element to it this time, something I don't think I've discussed before. And that will be, well, actually it's two things. I'm going to talk about our two favourite characters, Roger and Peter, SWAT superstars, yeah. If you want to beat the end of the world, A, you want to be in Cornwall, and B, you want to have those two guys fighting alongside you, because they're awesome. Kick-ass brothers in arms. And I love the fact that they're wearing what looks like the new Michael Myers coveralls, the new Michael Myers boiler suits, because the new Michael Myers boiler suit is, yeah, it's blue, it's blue. What was it in the first two films again? What was it? Yes, it was green. It was green, wasn't it? I am sick of having this argument with people all the time, and I do get this argument quite a lot. It's green in Halloween 1 and 2. It's blue from Halloween 4 onwards in all of the movies. Right, that's it. Let's put that to bed. So, and our SWAT team guys are wearing blue. And Scott H. Reiniger, who plays Roger, is only about that big. He's the size of Tom Cruise, and if you watch that film now, Dawn of the Dead, there's a look of Tom Cruise to Scott. There definitely is. I've always thought so. He looks like a cross between Tom Cruise and my brother Steve. My brother Steve, who lives in Vancouver. Because Steve, out of all the McEnany clan, because we've all got kind of pumpkin faces, apt for Halloween. Pumpkin sort of chubby cheeks and that jowly stuff going on under here. He hasn't. He's got a very thin, gaunt face. Is he really one of us? Funny how he's the one that left the country. Yeah. I think some detective work needs to be done there. But first, a swig of alcohol. Yeah. And the observers amongst you will have noticed that is not whiskey. which can mean only one thing. I've drunk all the whiskey and now I'm on to this. Shite. Anyway, so Scottish Reiniger, he's only a little diddly man, little diddly dude. And when George Romero cast him, George Romero had a little laugh and he was going like, why are you laughing? Well, it's just that the guy you'll be playing opposite, which will be Ken Foree playing Peter, he's about 6.5 feet tall. I'm like, but Scott just said, well, you know, after a couple of minutes, the audience won't even notice. Well, the simple fact is, I think you do notice, but it's not a bad thing. It's not. It can be comical. The size difference between these two fellas is a comical thing. They're the little and large of the end of the world, but they work together as a team superbly. Their on-screen chemistry, the way that they move around areas, the way that they cover each other with weapons, their strategies, their tactics when battling the zombies is really, really good, and it totally convinces me. Scottish Reiniger is a lefty. Always looks a bit odd when he's sighting up and he's doing it left-handed. Always looks a bit odd. But I've said before that the M16s they're using are not M16s. They are cut down 2.2 firing, not 5.56. They're firing little 2.2 bullets. The magazine you've got on the they're made by a company called Jaeger. I know because I had one in the 80s myself. A wonderful weapon it is too. Wonderful. But it looks just like the M16 apart from the 5.56 magazine is there, but the 2.2 magazine fits inside it, and you can see it in so many shots. I mean, me and my dad, both firearms users and experts. My dad, champion as well. I can't lay claim to being a champion with weapons, but did my best. I went bad, put it that way. I'd survive longer than most in the zombie apocalypse, I think. Even without being in Cornwall, mate. But when you see them raising up like that and the little magazines there, me and my dad used to go, yes, it's just a little Jaeger they're using there. But it looks great though. And the tactics they use, I say, are superb. They're Bon and me, they call each other brother, amigo, and buddy all the time. Like poor Stephen, David Emge here, Flyboy. He has to win them over, doesn't he? And he's already a friend of Roger's anyway, because Roger introduces Flyboy to Peter. He's running anyway. He's running at the start of the movie after the ghetto clearance. I've got a friend with a helicopter. He's running tonight. I could run tonight. I could run right now. So he's going to run with Peter and Fran. Sorry, with Stephen and Fran, who both work for WGON, the TV company. So you could run with us. So Peter joins this little motley crew, but he's got to work out who he can trust and all that. And of course, at the airport, the little airport where they're going to refuel, Stephen Flyboy proves he's not a good shot, and he's firing bullets. He can't hit anything properly. He's aiming guns at human beings, in fact, his own buddies. So Peter really gets, put a gun at anyone, mister. Scary, isn't it? Isn't it? Well, do you know the irony? Ken Foree and Scottish Reiniger both didn't have any weapons training beforehand, had to be drilled in all of that. But David Emge, who plays the clumsy buffoon, he went to Vietnam and he was trained in weapons, he was trained in combat and battle strategies, but he has to act like the idiot, the clumsy little idiot with the rifle. God, don't give him a gun. And the bit in the boiler room in the mall, where he finds the handgun, gets some bullets into it, but he drops he cuts one shot, one round goes in when the janitor zombie comes around the corner and he's there. Click, click, click. Oh shit, click. Boosh. Blood splatter across the back. But he's firing bullets all around and they're ricocheting everywhere. And it's a great bit of trickery from George Romero and the editing as well, where the bullets are... There's no bullets going anywhere, but you've got David Emge firing these shots wildly at this janitor. All you can see is a shadow, and he's going pew, and the bullets are going pew, ching, pong, ching, which sounds like a restaurant, doesn't it? In Little China. And he's doing all that. His head's going like that, like a Tex Avery cartoon. There's no bullets going anywhere. It's just clever the way they did it. And when you watch Dawn of the Dead now, even all these many, many years later, as epic as it is, and as clever and as observant as it is, and as canny and as just wonderfully well made, the editing still shines through. There's so many shots there, and quick cuts. No matter what version you watch, because how many versions of Dawn of the Dead are there? And multiple, you know. You've got the Argento cut, the extended cut, the theatrical cut. You've got all this sort of stuff. You've got the UK cut version, which initially, the first one I actually saw, and boy was it an eye-opener when I finally got to see the American unrated version. Jesus Christ, it made a hell of a difference. But back to these two. And this is going to bring in another element which I've not spoken about before. And this is the library music which is used. I mean, you're hearing a hodgepodge, a playlist I've put together from the music of Dawn of the Dead. And you've got Goblin in there, which is excellent stuff. And you've got from the DeWolf library of stock music. Now, the guy that made the music for that is a fella called Jan Stoeckart, who under the pseudonym of Jack Tromby and various other pseudonyms was brought to London for the DeWolf Music Library to create lots and lots of stock bits of music to be used in TV shows, to be sold to TV shows and to movies. One of my favourite bits of music in Dawn of the Dead is purely Peter and Roger at their best when they've got the little shopping cart and all that, and they're trying to get through the zombies. They've got the keys to the kingdom. They've got the keys, but they've got to get through hordes of zombies, work out how to open one of these slide doors while the zombies are all converging on them. And they're shooting a few, and they're slapping a few as well and pushing them away, and one comes through the door. And Roger loses his little cut down Jaeger M16, because the gun-toting zombie, the one who is the precursor to Bub in Day of the Dead, who learns how to use firearms and has more emotions, he's got more intelligence going on. Well, this guy is fascinated with weapons. He takes the M16, the Jaeger, off Roger, and he has that until the end when he battles Peter, and Peter's got his big sniper hunting target rifle. I'm not sure what weapon that is now. I should know it. I know in the past I have known what it is, but now it's just flipped off into the ether. But the big super gun, you know, and he drops the little Jaeger and he takes that and he's like, and it's a clever little evolution of the zombies. They're not just mindless brutes. Well, the vast majority of them seem to be, but this guy's clearly thinking ahead, you know, and likes what he sees. But in that sequence, the music that plays is phenomenal. I've always loved it, but it's cropped up in so many other things as well that I had to, many years ago, worked out, that's been used in Prisoner Cell Block H. It's also been used in Armchair Thriller. It's also been used in loads of things. It just kept cropping up. And I was like, that's Dawn of the Dead's music. And I worked out how it came to be, that it was some of the stock music he'd made for DeWolf that then got sold to many territories and put into TV shows, TV movies, and proper full-fledged cinematic movies. And Romero used a fair bit of this DeWolf music. Now, the track in question is called Mask of Death, and it doesn't just incorporate the action track, the action cue in that sequence. There's some suspense beforehand building up to it, and it's that I noticed primarily in Prisoner Cell Block H. Remember that? Prisoner Cell Block H? My wife, Mrs. Kilt-Man, was addicted to that show. An Australian women's prison full of all the stock cliches. Big butch lesbian prison wardens, or wardesses, whatever you call them. Murderers getting in. Murderers who are locked up in there, but murderers, assassins getting into the prison to kill other people. You know, drugs, crime, human emotion, drama, pregnancy, everything was in there. And it ran for about 4 or 5 years, maybe longer. Queen Bee was in charge of the place. Lots of girl on girl scrapping, but not a single girl that you thought, whoa, I don't go on that. Not one, dudes. Anyway, now there's Goblin playing there, but let's get on to this bit of music that I'm talking about. Dawn of the Dead fans, you recognise that already. That all the different elements in this 3.5 minute long track creep up in different parts of Dawn of the Dead. But this is Mask of Death. This is the full track which Romero would use. Listen to that. They're pretty spread out down there. Yeah. What do you think? Hit and run? hit and run. Doodle-doo, doodle-doo, doodle-doo. And like, well, what do we do while you're gone? Nothing. Don't do anything. Just stay right here. You might hear some gunfire, but don't worry about it. That's just us. Because Roger and Peter are going to do a big full recce of the supermarket, the mall. But they're going to encounter trouble. But of course, Stephen, who's asleep, he realised, oh, I'm not leaving him down there. Stephen, don't go down there. Says Fran. Yeah. It's an unusual bit of music, but it's beautiful at the same time. They run through hordes of zombies on the concourse. Get to one of these big glass doors. They've liberated this big keychain full of 1,000 keys. And Peter's trying to get the key in there. Shit. Roger's that way, pinging off. The zombies are getting closer. Finally gets the right key, but he can't open it. It's like not working. It doesn't open that way. You've got to slide it, and then it pivots round. The zombies are getting in. Roger's having that tussle with the gun-loving zombie. Peter's going like, leave it, take care of the other one. One of the business suits come through. Poor Roger, little Roger, is fighting with the zombies there, trying to get his gun back and drag this other one through. It's a tremendous action scene, brilliantly choreographed. They get the door shut, and in great editing, lost his gun, revolver comes out, kicks that zombie in the business suit, blam, gets him in the head. Remember what I said about the UK version of Dawn of the Dead? In that version, you're the zombie on the deck, and you're looking up at Roger, and Roger, with his combat boot, boots you in the chin. Blah, back you go. Quick edit, and there's a jump cut close up to Roger as he just goes, sorry, that way around, left hand, remember. And it just cut then, but it worked great. Then the full uncut version came my way, courtesy of another author, Ramsey Campbell, the great Ramsey Campbell, who lives just down the lane. Sounds like a limerick, that, doesn't it? Playing your music there, mate. And but when the full version came through, he boots him in the face, and it cuts the guy, the zombie in this business suit goes, and then holds for a second, and blood sprays everywhere, hits the deck. And you're like, whoa! Even that bit was extended. Of course, this is The Gonk by Herbert Chappell. And this is wonderful. This is iconic, this. But we're going to go back to Mask of Death, because that was the point of this, really. Jan Stoeckart also did the fabulous music for the TV show Van der Valk, the opening title theme, which is called Eye Level. Eye Level reached #1 in the UK with a full symphony orchestra playing it, and it's wonderful. In fact, I'm going to play it in a minute. It's fucking awesome. That's great suspense there, isn't it? In the background. But Eye Level, it was originally called Amsterdam, because he's a Dutch composer, and it was meant to be certain parts of the very low-lying Holland, Netherlands. Everywhere you look, the horizon is at your eye level, so it was called Eye Level for that reason. Well, it was changed to Eye Level for that reason. The two of them are there, they look around the corner at the zombies everywhere, they slump back like that, and like Peter's going, looking for it. He's got a ciggy in his mouth, looking for his lighter, and Roger just goes like that. The way they work together. So what do you think? Try it or bag it? And he goes, you game? And Roger just goes, I need lighter fluid. They come around the corner and they both smack their rifle stocks, the butts of their M16s, Jaegers, into the guts of two zombies who double up, and then they smack the butts into their faces, and these zombies just whip back like that. My dad used to always say, you couldn't do that with that gun, because it's a plastic stock. The M16 is a plastic stock anyway, And although it's very hardened and resistant plastic, you could drop it down outside of a mountain, pick it up, and it's still fire. But my dad always said, yeah, it was just shattered on their dead heads. Don't know. Isn't it beautiful? If you just got played this music without knowing what it was from, the last thing you're going to think of is two massively armed SWAT team guys surrounded by ravenous zombies trying to open the door to a supermarket. Fantastic. So those two, when you lose Roger, I love the fact that when they're getting the trucks to park the trucks outside the gates, the main doors, the shopping mall, to seal the entrances off. And these two guys are massively consistent. They work together as a perfect, team, just a two-man team of ultra destruction and machismo and battle strategy. But Roger begins to, oh God, I have my goddamn bag in the other truck. And he begins to come unhinged. I mean, getting sprayed with blood and brains from the zombie that's actually on top of him in the cab at one stage. Roger, get his head up, man. You know what? I'll move on. You can't talk seriously when that's playing, can you? The gong, as it's called. Or the zombie march, if you like. And Roger becomes unhinged. And it mimics, in the SWAT team attack on the ghetto at the start of the movie, you've got the big, bigoted, racist bastard, Wooly, goes apeshit. Well, he's got apeshit, man. He starts wasting everybody in there, like, all these low life, and no, I won't say the words. I won't come out with the words that he uses. But he's blowing people apart. And Roger tries to take him down, leaps on his back, gets fucking booted aside, like. But in the end, Peter's the one that with his gas mask on, step away from him. And they all move aside. Don't touch that door. And Willie opens the door to an apartment where there are zombies. But Peter just shoots him through the back that comes through his heart. Not in the head. And then they know to shoot them in the head, because in the very next moments you've got a zombie with its leg half chewed off going towards one of these shell-shocked troopers, and this other guy's going, shoot it, man, shoot it in the head. And the guy's just going, ends up blowing his own brains out, like. But when Roger goes through his own little odyssey with the trucks, he becomes completely unhinged, a bit like Wooly did. He's OTT, he's enjoying the carnage, he's ploughing the truck into zombies, he's taking his time, he's playing with the zombies. And a great shot you see, as the door opens to the other cab where Peter's sitting there. Peter's just like that. I can't look anywhere near as severe as Ken Foree. You always know I'm going to break into a smile. He's kind of looking like that. That was better. No, you're not just playing with your life, you're playing with mine. No, you straight. Yeah. No, because he gets bitten on the arm and then bitten on the leg, and then we're gonna say goodbye to Roger. But there's a lot to get done before he can afford to lose me. So they put him in that little trolley, that little gardening trolley, and they wheel him around the concourse of the mall. But even though he's very, like Peter Cushing, very gaunt in his face anyway, so he looks cadaverish to begin with. All you gotta do is just put some of the paint on him, the blue emulsion that Tom Savini was using. Put some tissue paper on. That's what they did. The desiccated flesh. They put tissue paper on and they put the heat on it. And they dry it to the skin. Put a hairdryer on it, and then when they lift it off, it leaves all these striations in the skin. And so he looked desiccated. And oh my God, we've got to remain calm and unemotional. And the blanket comes down, and Roger's head just comes up like that. And you just hear the gunshot. And later on, when they bury him in like one of these little ornamental gardens on one of the shopping plazas, with his dog tags there as well. And Peter shows that he's got a lot of compassion, because Stephen and Fran, they've got a baby on the way. Good luck with that one. And but they're in love. He cooks them a big meal. No, this is just for the two of you. And then he goes out to the grave of Roger. He's got a bottle of champagne, uncorks that, like, sprinkles it over the grave, sits there, has a drink with his mate. It's a lovely, touching scene. And that's the thing about Dawn of the Dead. It has comedy, it has social comment, action aplenty. One of the most bizarre battle scenes you're ever going to witness. Bikers in a shopping mall fighting SWAT team and a flyboy and zombies, and then using custard pies in the face of zombies. It's just, and it's guys with swords, guys swinging from the rafters. You know, it's just, it's crazy. It's wonderful. As I've always said, Dawn of the Dead is not a scary film. As a horror film sort of standards, you don't jump out your skin. There's moments of tension and suspense, but it doesn't work on that level. It's scary because of the overall story, the overall apocalypse that's taking place, and how people fracture, how people turn against each other, how you've got to fight for survival, and the worst enemy might just be the people you live next door to, you know? And that's where the terror comes into it. It's the overall theme. Night of the Living Dead was scary. That was a nightmare movie. That was genuinely scary. Dawn of the Dead is just a huge overview, which then coalesces into this group become a microcosm of the world at large, and it works on that level explosively well. Day of the Dead takes that a bit further, but adds, although it's the same kind of story, beleaguered survivors hold up together. You can't trust everybody. The group fractures, splinters. People with morals become fewer and further between, but everyone else just becomes mindless bastards. The zombies become the least of your worries. You know, it's other people who've got their own agendas, and that just ups the ante. But it's the same style, and again, it's not scary. I don't find that film scary at all, but I do love Day of the Dead. Land of the Dead, I actually enjoy on a comic book level. Again, it evolves the zombies more with Big Daddy and all that, but I do like it. But I don't ever seem to ever want to sit down and watch it though. And Diary of the Dead, no. And what is it, Survival of the Dead? Jesus Christ. No, you're flogging a dead horse. Literally, in that case, the dead horse, isn't it? I said I'd play for you, eye level, just to give you a bit more of Jan, what's his name? Jan Stoeckart. I did write, yeah. You saw me looking down and I did write it down. I know him as Jack Tromby, you see, and his real name and his other pseudonyms kind of took over. One of Goblin's action tracks there. Let's play that for a second. Mistime that. Good stuff. Better than I thought. I'm just thinking, have I actually got eye level? Well, folks, I'll tell you what I've got. And this will be completely off kilter after what we've just been playing. Matt Monro actually made a single to the music of Eye Level, which is the theme to Van der Valk, and put lyrics to it which no one ever thought was possible. And here it is. Now I'm playing this because I can't find the actual orchestral track itself. But Jack Tromby, Jan Stoeckart. This is Amsterdam, known as Eye Level.
I thought that I had the world on the end of the string. I thought that I was a millionaire.
I know. Where am I going with this video? Well, we're going to Amsterdam, obviously.
And I saw you there, and you smiled with laughter in your eyes. Then the world seemed to fade away.
Now, if you could watch all the people now that are watching this, how many have just turned off? All of them, he just said. It's beautiful though. I remember this being on Top of the Pops. And all the audience, you know, all the kids in the audience who were dancing. And it was just an orchestra playing this. And it was number one. And it was Barry Foster who played Dutch detective Van der Valk. It was a great show. They remade it a couple of years ago with and I've forgotten the guy's name. Blonde guy, Mark Watson, playing Van der Valk, and it's a bit more hard hitting, obviously. And it moved with the times. His partner was a lesbian. So we've gone full circle. We've gone back to women's prisons and lesbos. And the world seemed to fade away. Zombie apocalypse. I'm wrapping all this up together.
I'd like to stay.
In Cornwall.
I'd like to stay.
There you go, folks. And we'll finish on. Anyway, folks, check out Gareth Stevens' trilogy on the apocalypse, and check out Done or Dead again. It's always worth it. And just enjoy the interplay between Scott H. Reiniger and Ken Foree. It's wonderful stuff. Scott's brother is actually in that sequence where they're trying to get the door open. Because George Romero said, anyone you know, just send them down here to get dressed up as zombies, put makeup on them. We'll pay him 50 cents a day and give him a hot dog. No. So Scott H. Reiniger's, Roger's brother's actually there. And he's got a beard, I think. Just how fantastic is that mask from tops? Trying to get the contrast right on it. But that's got to be the grungiest zombie ever. From Full Cheese Zombie Flesh Eaters, the Conquistador zombie, known as Worm Eye or Poster Boy. Anyway, folks, I have been and always shall be Kilt-Man. Please, take it easy. Keep it Celtic, keep it Celtic. And I am going to see you guys all. It's the novelty of a stop button that still works. Wow, what next? I can't keep up with technology these days.